Hello and welcome to another edition of The Daily. I'm Samantha Yarock here with Jason Saghini. And Jason, CONCACAF Champions League kicks off again tonight for MLS teams. First up, Houston Dynamo, who traveled to Trinidad and Tobago to take on W Connection. MLSsoccer.com spoke with Brian Ching from training last night, him saying that he expects this team to move on given their experience and depth.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you look at this Dynamo team, they do have more depth than they've had in the past. They're bringing in Alexander Lopez, a designated player in the midfield, and that's to complement guys that they already have, like Ricardo Clark, Adam Moffat. You look out on the wings, they have plenty of guys that they can throw out there. Brad Davis, Boniek Garcia, Andrew Driver. We've seen all of these guys really be able to compete at a high level. For me, the injuries to Kalen Carr and to Omar Cummings leave them lacking a little speed up top, but we've seen that they've been able to do what the Dynamo do, pump balls into the box, get Cam Weaver, Will Bruin, Brian Ching on the end of it. I think they will have enough to get by W Connection and to advance out of their group in Champions League.
All right, well, you can catch that game tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1. The second game of the night, LA Galaxy at home taking on the Costa Rican side Cartagena. Jason, LA has been on fire as of late. Robbie Keane with a hat trick, Landon Donovan with a hat trick. What do you expect to see from this team tonight?
I think it'll be interesting to see what Bruce Arena does here. This might be the best team in their group. I mean, you could argue if Metapon is the tougher challenge, but the Galaxy clearly the best team in the group. Do they need to trot out Robbie Keane and Landon Donovan for this game, or do they try to mix it up? Remember last year in Champions League in the early rounds, you saw a lot of Jack McBean, a lot of Villarreal, a lot of the younger guys even in the midfield. Is Bruce Arena going to try to mix it up, rest some of his guys ahead of MLS play, and get some of those younger guys in there? I don't know. Maybe at home you want to make sure you win that game and then send the younger guys out on the road to try to scratch a tie. Either way, the LA Galaxy, they're the power team in this group. They should advance.
All right, well, we'll see how that lineup shakes out tonight. You can watch that at 10 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports Plus. Well, speaking of the LA Galaxy, the guys from ExtraTime Radio interviewed the LA Galaxy president yesterday, Chris Klein, where they spoke about what else? Landon Donovan's future. Klein acknowledging that he knows Landon has had interest from overseas, but that he hopes Landon will continue to play in a Galaxy uniform.
Yeah, I mean, I think all Galaxy fans want Landon Donovan to stay in MLS. As far as Landon Donovan, he came out in an interview and he said, I have offers from abroad, and of course he's going to say he's in a contract negotiation. I'd expect Landon Donovan to stick around MLS for one more year at least with the Galaxy, and here's why. He's very close to breaking the all-time goals record. Now, he could break it this season, but if he doesn't, is he really going to leave when he's 1 or 2 goals away? And then also you look at it, if they're going to make a run in CONCACAF Champions League, I think Landon is going to want to be a part of that, and he's going to want to be on that team that finally wins a CONCACAF Champions League, and this LA team could be the team to do it.
All right, well, another hot topic in this interview with Chris Klein was the potential of a 4th DP spot. Do you think this is a good idea for MLS?
One day maybe, and I think there's a couple things to look at here. The first is, if there was a 4th designated player spot, I'm pretty sure there's only 2, 3, maybe 4 teams who would be willing to use it at this point. So that in itself doesn't really sell it to me, because you don't want the league to be so top heavy on teams who are just willing to go out and spend. The other thing I would look at here is I would consider having a 4th designated player spot if it was only allocated potentially towards keeping a homegrown player. So this is an example of, you have a young guy, you bring him up through your system, he's all of a sudden getting offers from all over the place and you need to spend some money to keep him here. Maybe you'd want funding for that to be able to keep a guy that you were able to groom yourself. I don't know if I'd say, go spend on another international player and bring in a 4th designated player, but if it was some sort of mechanism to keep homegrowns in there, I would say I would be all for it.
All right, well, for that full Chris Klein interview, be sure to check out ExtraTime Radio on MLSsoccer.com. All right, well, Jason, it's Tuesday, so you know what that means. Castrol Index time. And coming in at number 1 this week was Robbie Keane off of his hat trick against Real Salt Lake.
Phenomenal performance by Keane. No surprise to see him at number 1. Then we have 3 goalkeepers, a hat trick of goalkeepers who had shutouts. Luis Robles at number 2, shut out the Philadelphia Union. Matt Reese shut out the Chicago Fire at home. And then Zach McMath, of course, on the other side of that 0-0 game against the Red Bulls. Marco Di Vaio wraps up the list. He had 2 goals for Montreal Impact against DC United.
And you can catch that Marco Di Vaio second goal in this week's AT&T Goal of the Week. Jason, what was your favorite goal of the week?
I don't think there's any contest this week. Juan Agudelo, I don't know what you were thinking, but that's going to earn you a Goal of the Week.
Well, be sure to check out all of the goals nominated on MLSsoccer.com and vote for this week's AT&T Goal of the Week. You can also vote for Save of the Week. Will be coming out later today. That's all we have for the Daily. We'll be back tomorrow.